Good morning. It's Vijay here. Today is Friday, 6th March 2026. Today let's discuss about the war in Iran getting extended. Now, most of us were led to believe that this war will finish off in 4 to 5 weeks, and that's what President Trump had said at that point of time. And this was general consensus across the board. Now, yesterday, Trump says that it will extend for more than 4 to 5 weeks. They're looking at a 100-day war, and the Ministry of Defense there, the Department of War, is looking at war extending up to September. Now, that changes the entire economics of how one should look at even markets. Now, this war, while the Iran fights with Israel and US on one front, and we are looking at the economics of missiles versus drones and what they cost, which will fall upon Iran vis-a-vis what's happening to US. But what we have seen is, while we have data, something like 92% of Iranian hits have failed. Some people say even 97. But what is important is the 3%. The 3% which have actually succeeded have created more fear among people living there. Now, the war theater has expanded to 12 countries. It was just between three countries, that is Israel, Iran, and US. Now it is extended to 12 countries. The state of Hormuz, while US may talk big, but the insurers have decided, the shipping companies have decided that they will not pick up cargo. Now, China is saying that they will, escort those carriers. So there could be some movement there, but right now, as per data, more than 95% of ships have stopped moving there, and they're stuck. And there is no way that they can go any other way, because you see, the Red Sea is another route, but all the oil and gas which is coming from Middle East is stuck on the west coast of that strait. So you have to use that. There is no way you can put a pipeline now and transport gas and fuel to that side of the eastern side where you can use the Red Sea. Now, Red Sea Houthis are very active there. So, what is it for India? Yesterday we discussed it, but I would like to put a little more emphasis that we are looking at oil bill. Oil bill is one part of it. Now, LNG bill is another part of it. But more important, which most of us have forgotten, is the fertilizer bill. Now, 40% of finished fertilizer goods come from passes through the Straits of Hormuz. 40%, and 30% of the key raw materials for fertilizers also passes through that. Now, obviously, we will get hurt by oil. We will get hurt by, the sector which will get affected is the downstream, and oil companies, construction materials will get affected. The supply chain, which are in the supply chain, like this electrical equipment, power transmission, they'll get affected. Industrial raw materials like packaging, plastic pipes, and all, which we discussed. But fertilizers is not often discussed. Fertilizers is big, and 40% is not ordinary, and that will put a heavy pressure on our fiscal deficit. While oil may not put that much pressure, fertilizer will do that, because food security is what everyone is looking at, and we do not know from where we are going to import fertilizer. For instance, potash. Potash is a very important component, and that also is coming through this Straits of Hormuz. So I think we should focus on fertilizers, be more important than oil. Oil, for instance, we can get it from Russia, we can get it from Venezuela, but fertilizers is something much more scarcer than oil at this point of time, because everybody is now looking at food security. They're blocking, exports, and in such a case, India will be left high and dry if we do not find really some good alternatives in the very near future. Incidentally, US has allowed India to pick up oil from Russia, which has already been loaded onto the the Indian ships. So to that extent, we will get oil. Oil is not a problem. It's only the price which we will pay. But fertilizer is something which is much more scarcer. I think we should look at that. And I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned. One, that the war is extending beyond 4 to 5 weeks, which we had all originally thought. So we need to be very careful in what we invest. FMCG, fertilizers, paints, ceramics, specialty chemical, city gas distribution, synthetic material, all this will get affected. So we need to be very careful in what we pick and choose, there are opportunities, as I said, upstream oil companies like Oil India Limited, ONGC, then energy companies like Coal India, then you have metals, base metals like copper, zinc, aluminium. They will all benefit by this closure of Straits of Hormuz. So one needs to focus. We have been focusing on natural resources independent of this war. We think we are in the safer place, but one has to be more careful now because two things, as I repeat. One is the extension, which has gone from 4 to 5 weeks to 100 days or more. And the second is fertilizer subsidy, fertilizers, which are now will create a problem as far as our fiscal deficit is concerned. So just be careful. Just analyze before you just jump in based on some index movement. Like yesterday, there was a large index movement. Just I would be very, very careful in just not believing the mainline index rather than look at stocks. So whatever you do, I hope it is successful. Thank you for joining.